Have you had enough yet? Um, yeah, that's sensory overload right there. Not just that, add every other sound that's going on all at once. You can hear everything all at once. I don't mean some schizophrenic believing that he hears everything all over the world. What I'm saying is I hear all the different cars driving by. I hear my window flapping. I hear that scratch board. I hear the winds. You see how those trees are damn near sideways? Sometimes my phone will filter out background noise, which is nice. But what that ends up with is some people, parts of the conversations are missing because you just can't hardly hear them. Or you hear stuff that happened, a few feet away, and it's not in the immediate vicinity, and so your phone just kind of drowns it out. And you're like, yeah, I know I heard somebody yell, and then I go and I talk to somebody. Did you hear that? What, did it sound like a girl screaming? Yeah, I heard it. A lot of people want to pretend that I'm imagining shit, so I make sure that when something happens, there's somebody else nearby. Last night, Chris was kind of like that. It happens. The police here are my predators. They have access to all sorts of facilities, their own homes, their coworkers, and your tax dollars to try to cover up and hide their crimes. And they also got 1,000,001 ways that they can make me pay my entire life out my ass. All of my efforts have been to try to turn in my predators and get my day in court. An honest day in court where I get to face my accusers. That I may show my side and what they and their friends did to me and how they had zero remorse. Every one of these people, literally every single woman in this situation, showed she has no remorse for any of the things that she's done. It sucks. See, that's the genome that's missing. As a male, I do have an overwhelming sense of morality. There's a scientific study done not too long ago that showed that most women on social media are sociopathic. Also, that most women are completely self-absorbed, and that men tend to care about others. Women tend to post pictures of their children and try to present a picturesque and perfect life. Much of this is because of social conditioning. We've taught girls since they're little kids to play house and play getting married and play having kids and play dollies and to compete for a mate. We start teaching girls how to do that. almost as soon as they come out of the womb. What do we do with boys when they come out of the womb? We snip the tip for her pleasure. So you take a whole bunch of sensitivity off of the man, so he will last longer. I want to explain to you humans how lucky you are. When you go complaining about a man who lasts for 5 minutes or 3 minutes, an 800-pound mountain gorilla, 800-pound mountain gorilla has 2 inches maximum and lasts for 3 to 5 seconds. For chimpanzees, it's even shorter. We're not meant to have sex thrown in our face 24/7. But as soon as people learned how to arouse others and use that to manipulate them, people started doing that. Even chimpanzees have prostitution. Sex for favors. Things are nuts, ain't they? We get a lot of feminist groups that want to compare men to animals. I can compare men to animals too. I can also compare women to animals. And how many species do the mothers eat their young? Most. Humans are one of the few carnivorous or omnivorous animals out there that will not eat its own offspring. We get a bunch of nonsense in our heads. We make our decisions based on nonsense. Not on actual research, observation, and evidence. Science is my religion because it's right. Why is it right? Because if there's something wrong, it can be changed. It's not set in stone like the Bible. Meanwhile, the Bible and what's in it were voted on long after Jesus was dead. Much of what was written was in different languages. Was translated into Latin. Languages like Greek and Egyptian. And then voted on. Those who proposed having the book of Judas Iscariot in the Bible were all burned at the stake. I suppose you can consider them the first Protestant martyrs. Whereas currently Martin Luther holds that title. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s namesake. Or would he be the namesake of such and said a martyr? Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. died for what he believed in. And he lived in the service of others, same as me, same as Jesus. Oh, Sean, now you're comparing yourself to people. Oh, God. There's a lot of people who live lives of service that you've never heard of. You want to pretend that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was the only one who ever cared about anybody? No. try to charge up my car because I leave it on to use the battery. So if I start it up once in a while, then I can keep it running for a minute, make sure that it's charged up, make sure that it'll start up again. There's a lot of people that didn't realize what an asshole I am, despite me telling them I'm honest. I'm honest about what an asshole I am. If you want to take a situation and twist it into something it's not, well, that's on you. Oh yes, I was going to the soda machine to get a Mountain Pasture. There's probably not enough money on my food stamp card to get one, but I'm going to go see if I can get a coffee. I'll be right back. Stay here, don't go anywhere. If anybody tries to steal my stuff, well, obviously you can't beat them up through the phone, and I would hope you wouldn't offer to beat them up. Just try to get a description and call it in for me. God, this thing's hot. It's a hot day. My phone's overheating because of it. All my spare batteries are out of battery. Oh yes, I need my wallet. I can remember where the hell I put it. When Natalie disappeared, finding her safely was the most important thing. And a lot of people just weren't on board with that. They were wanting to argue with people on Facebook. When she first disappeared, it was real popular among a lot of people that I know. A lot of people wanted to get involved in the Facebook drama. What I needed was help stopping the abuse, not all my friends getting involved in Facebook drama. I needed them to come forward about what they knew, because people were already fucking being harmed and killed over that shit. Not just me and Natalie. Do you think I'm the only person that these people were playing? Look at the fucking head games that Tim Beeson played with Natalie Bollinger, threatening to kill himself if she didn't come back to him. That's so fucked up. For me, being victimized by that asshole, him repeatedly harassing me and threatening to kill me and my friends and family, calling me up, harassing me on the internet. See, that was probably my saving grace right there. Before that, all I could connect any of this shit to was Maddie Boa. Maddie Boa claiming that I was doing shit I didn't fucking do. And she fucking knew better. She spread the rumors that she spread because she wanted to impress people. She's a lesbian and had a crush on a couple of pretty girls, and she wanted the set. She had already had sex with Alicia Bollinger. She wanted to mess around with Natalie too. Natalie and Alicia were very different people. Alicia always wanted to have kids, Natalie didn't. my card, one of them. I can't find my damn wallet. That's a pretty important piece of equipment. Maybe I put it in here? I did. I got some cornstarch earlier. It's, we're making oobleck, a non-Newtonian fluid. If you don't know what that is, you can look it up. You know, I went through, when I first tried to write my story, I had to do it without access to anything. And I was slowly able to go back through some of the evidence and some of the events, and I was slowly able to take what was basically a general outline of a lot of different scenarios and situations that had happened. And then I just had to fill out the names and the times and the days. And that took for fucking ever. There was also a couple of mistakes that I made that I had to correct because I was wrong. And it's pretty important to admit when you're wrong. Anyway, on 5 different occasions, I had to update it, revise it. Anyway, I'll be right back. I believe the lady who was in the car next to me was yelling at what seemed to be her granddaughter. I think she's the one that had 2 girls with her last time, and she was talking shit about me in my car, trying to insinuate to them kids that I was some sort of a horrible monster. Well, she's not a very nice lady. I hope she got to being nicer to that little girl that was with her after I went into the store, but she was not talking nice. And she wasn't talking nice last time either. She's just a rotten person. Who talks to kids like that for fucking shitty goddamn reasons? No, kids don't want to fucking listen to you when you're fucking always talking to them in a shitty voice. Guess what? Adults don't want to listen to you when you're talking to them in a shitty voice either. But you know what? That's the only thing that gets most people's attention. Because all you know is abuse. All you know is how to take abuse. Or how to ignore abuse against others. The people at the bottom, we're always taught it's every man for himself, regardless of what the law says. Regardless of what the governor says or the president says. Regardless of what the upper middle class of the United States or the rich have to say. At the bottom, it's every man for himself. Thank goodness there's a lot of immigrants at the bottom too that come into our country and show how to do it right. It's called working together. Why are black people able to get such special rights? Because they're working together. Why are immigrants starting to get such special rights? Because they're working together. They're sharing the information and sharing the desperation. Sharing the experience so that more people are aware. They're trying to get other people interested and understanding of why it affects them too. People don't fight very hard for the homeless or the disabled. You say there's all these laws that protect us and so on and so forth. No, there's not. The places that you tell us that we're supposed to go when we're abused, the places that are supposed to help us, they tell us they're not going to do their jobs unless I'm going to kill myself or somebody else. Other than that, they don't give 2 fucking shits. Their questions are always trick questions. They don't care about the abuse you're enduring. They literally only care if you're trying to turn yourself in as a bad person because you want your life to end. Or as a bad person because somebody who's threatening to kill you or your friends and family is now slated for head removal. It's a simple surgery. It's a quick surgery. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people that I know that talk about that vigilante justice. None of them even try going to the law. Like Chris was saying last night, and many other times too, cops are bad. Cops are bad. He's absolutely right. Especially if you're poor and have no family support and have to go in alone. That's what makes people not give a shit. When it comes to autism, do you guys try to understand us or do you make fun of us? The way that you used to be allowed to make fun of black people. The way you used to be able to make fun of retarded people. Or people with cerebral palsy or people with Down syndrome. Well, now you can still treat autistic people and homeless people that way. And you can treat men that way. Unabashedly. Can do that to straight people too, and we're not allowed to defend ourselves. We're told that we owe it to them to take their abuse. Even those of us who fought so hard because we were abused our entire lives and understand how much it sucks to be abused. So yeah, we fought for these other people too. hoping that some of those people would fight for us. But they didn't, did they? I need someone to listen, to understand how many times I was fucking harmed because I had to go in alone. And that these people are telling me to go into these places by myself. That's what they're literally making me do. Everybody telling me to go in, go in, go in. I've already been in about these situations. I had to go in alone every fucking time. And the more crimes are committed, yeah, the more fucking scared I am to go in and talk to these pieces of shit. The more they ignore me and blow me off and fucking press false charges on me, the more I have to be afraid. But also the more it solidifies my resolve. If the people I'm supposed to go to for help are just going to break the fucking law, why are you sending me to them for help? Especially after they've broken the law repeatedly. Why are you going to assist the predators in victimizing the victim by not listening to the victim? Oh, how dare I talk about myself in the third person? I must be evil, right? I'm not sure how good that Nancy's probiotic cream cheese is going to be. But I'm glad to have it. Let's just hope it's not moldy. For me, I have to do things a certain way so I don't get overwhelmed. That's what it's about. Me being able to function requires me to not be overwhelmed. And I was overwhelmed instantly by assholes when I left Virginia. I was overwhelmed by people who just wanted to pretend like I was some sort of a horrible monster. And the rumors started off small, but they got worse and worse. Spread like wildfire, and everybody's excuse and advice is for me to move. Me to just ignore it and eventually it'll blow over. No, it didn't blow over. Even when I moved to Chapel, Nebraska to get away from those assholes. They wanted to get a hold of me across the internet and fucking call me over and over again. How did Tim Beeson get my phone number? Huh? This guy who raped Natalie and fucking bought her a dog to get her to come back. And then she left him again and he fucking kept her dog, wouldn't let her have it. And then he told her she could have her dog, and she went back to get her dog, and he fucking held her down and screamed in her face and told her she could have the dog back when she took him back. That's Tim Beeson for you. Later on, he tried blaming that on Joey Moreno. Well, I was in Virginia visiting Natalie. More than once, she had to cancel her plans with me. Her plans. Because Tim Beeson was getting a hold of her and threatening to blow his head off if she wouldn't come back to Colorado and touch his goddamn willy. Either he was under some fantasy that they were still dating at that point in time, because she did describe him as her ex. Either she lied about that, or he lied about that. On Sword and Scale, episode 109 and 110. Tim Beeson talks about how he was dating Natalie at the time. Really? Because she called you her ex. Also, Dakota Cooper knows where you met Natalie. You fucking perverted chimo fuck. And you guys went after the wrong people, and the evidence shows it. You guys want to pretend that my reaction, after a long time of trying to do it the right way and being ignored under the auspices of the mentally ill bullshit, nobody gave a fuck. They had so little respect for me that rather than finding out what the problem was, they were too busy talking over me and telling me what to do. And even if I coordinated with them to do those things, they never followed through. That's what happens when you're a male and you're harmed to the point that you're disabled and can't take care of yourself. All those people that, when they needed help and you were there for them, they all disappear and pretend like you were never there for them. Like you're able to do this for yourself through your disabilities just because magically they want to pretend. When they needed help, they came to you for help. A lot of guys know that. A woman is not likely to reciprocate any of the things that you do for her in the same way. If you're being abused and your children are being abused by their mother, and you go to a woman for help, what are the chances that her and her husband are going to take you in? What are the chances that you're going to get the same assistance that would be expected if it was a woman? Like when you have a husband who says, yeah, I don't want Loretta here. She's fucking drama and trauma and fucking starts shit every time. And she fucking gets drunk and fucking treats all of us like we're idiots, especially the men. So no, I don't want her in my house. I'm putting my foot down. But the wife says, well, you know what? If that's how it's going to be, I'm leaving. Over stuff like that. A lot of the guys that I know, they got married because they were pressured into it. They never wanted to get married. They were pressured into it. Some girl had a fantasy in her head, and when he wasn't magically a millionaire after a year of marriage, matter of fact, he's not even able to fucking go home to a clean house. He has to clean it when he gets home. I'm not saying that it's a woman's job to clean a house. I'm saying it needs to be somebody's job to clean the fucking house. If you're a stay-at-home mom who doesn't clean, guess what? That is a job. You are performing a job and a duty as a stay-at-home parent. That includes housekeeping. And yes, having a husband that comes home and helps with the housekeeping or washes dinner every night, that's a great help, isn't it? If you're a stay-at-home mom, do you help him when he has to bring his work home? When he's got to do overtime at home? Do you nag him that he's not spending enough time with his family? You know, you could trade places. You could join the workforce and let him be a stay-at-home father. But then you won't respect him, will you? You'll immediately start in with the he's a freeloader thing and he's too lazy to get a job. Possibly. That depends on if you were after a fairy tale wedding when you were a kid. Or if you're more realistic. I know what I'm going to do with this cheese. I'm going to put some brown sugar in it. I'm going to sweeten it up. I'm going to make pretendy toast by setting my bread in the sun for about 10 minutes, flipping it over and giving it about 10 minutes. It'll be slightly crispy on the outside, sort of. It's not the most tasty way to do it, but it'll work. sometimes the food is still good and sometimes it ain't. It's always a toss-up when you get hand-me-down food. When you completely ignore the statistics and the chances of me being harmed and why, you're showing me none of your efforts are for justice. They're just for yourself. Because justice means if it's wrong for all of us. If you're going to tell me it's fine for people to threaten me and send me on a wild goose chase if it's nobody's job, but if I threaten people back, then all of a sudden I'm a magically horrible criminal who needs to be in prison for the rest of my life and beaten by the guards and fucking sexually assaulted. Now, the guards told me what they did was not sexual assault, and their boss said what they did was not sexual assault. However, I looked it up when I got out, because I wasn't allowed to look anything up in there. I was denied access to all of that illegally. I was denied access to my constitutional rights and repeatedly abused, and I was expected to act like everything was fine. I was cut off from my resources, from my efforts to get help. Over and over again, it's just pushing housing and ignoring their jobs as mandated reporters. So many people in Nebraska wanted to tell me they're not mandated reporters. That is not true. In the state of Nebraska, literally every citizen is a mandated reporter. Every one of them. So good luck with that. Also, she works at UNL. That's the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. Which means that while I was in prison, most of the time that she was at work, she was less than a mile away from me. The things that myself and my loved ones have had to go through, and the abuse that I've endured, because people did horrible things to my friends and family and threatened their lives and their children. And I get treated like I'm a horrible person for speaking up about how wrong it is to do that. See, that's the thing before Natalie died that nobody cared. Nobody cared about the fact that I wasn't threatening to kill Natalie Bollinger or her friends or family. They were threatening to kill mine. They wouldn't leave me alone. Even when I had to abandon my safety network and abandon my friends in Boulder, Colorado, abandon the people who should have, well, if they were really friends and family like they claimed, should have cared enough to listen to me and stop the abuse instead of telling me to ignore it before they even know what I'm enduring. As far as having real friends, I've never had one. I've had people who pretended to care, but I was never a priority enough for them to actually care enough to turn in abuse. See, I don't need people to help me turn in every single thing. I need them to help get my words taken seriously. I don't need you to believe me. I need you to know. Because you might need to interrupt them and say, hey, that narrative is false. The situation that he's dealing with, he's got it recorded. He is telling the truth about it. And the tone and the demeanor is entirely different than what you are pretending happened. Do not sell a false narrative over the top of the victim. And that's what nearly everybody wants to do. they were not there and I was, and they want to talk to me like I'm retarded because they were told things that are not true. There's also a little bit of truth to some of the things they want to claim. Like some of the reactions that I had later on to long-term abuse. Yes, I eventually did threaten people back. Then again, if it's illegal for me to do it back, then it's illegal for them to do it to me to begin with. If they can pretend that I threatened to do something to them and have me put in jail for that, then it is for certain illegal for them to actually do those things. Natalie was embarrassed. People have stalked me for 7 years because Natalie pretended I stalked her. People have threatened my life and the lives of my friends and family for 7 years because they pretended that I threatened to kill them and their friends and family in Virginia all the way in 2016. There's a lot of witnesses on my channel that were literally on drugs when they were talking to me on my channel. Like Brett Roloff, his girlfriend Amber, Christine Buhit. Fran Ingersoll was drunk as a fucking skunk when she was calling and talking to me. Same thing with Teresa Orn. Those were lovely conversations. No, they weren't. Women who are feeling sorry for themselves and getting drunk and then wanting to make it them, that is not useful. Your idea of helping a man is to try to get a pity party for yourself because you're drunk or fucked up on drugs. That's fucked up. This stuff's actually pretty good. Nope. I take that back. It's really good. I should have been a chef. I'm just kidding. Most of the stuff that I cook, other people won't eat. I like my stuff cooked a certain way. Autistic people, we need a quiet room, a place where we can get away from your nuttiness. I want you to imagine a screeching chalkboard all the time, and you have to try to maintain your composure and not show any reaction to that chalkboard the entire time. You hear the wind whistling through that Land Rover? It's whistling through the pipes on top. You can count the cars based on the sound as it gets louder and quieter. You can hear each individual car going by. You can tell if it's a car or a truck. I can hear how many pieces of tape are rattling on my window. And where it's rattling. Up at the top, it's flapping the window. Over on the front end, it's flapping little pieces of tape that are hanging off. I'll show you. See up there, it's flapping. There's the little piece of tape keeps tapping on it. Tap, tap, tap-a-roo. That's because, like I said, look at that tree. It's fucking almost sideways. The tip of it is past 90 degrees. It's pointed towards the ground. Now we just heard a lifted truck. Right there, big ass Ford. Them guys with them big old manly mutton trucks, it was something loud. Something that announces their arrival. When you got a truck like that, you don't have to worry about social rules like it's rude to just drive up and honk. Shit, when you pull up, they know you're there. Yeah. Woohoo! From every room in the house. I have to try to have conversations through this shit. You get to hear the cops yelling at me that they can't hear me, they can't hear me, they can't hear me. People on the phone doing the same thing. But then when I raise my voice so they can hear me, how often do they go, "Oh, now I'm hanging up. You're being rude." Oh, I could be far worse than just rude. You're being rude, motherfucker, and you're not doing your job as a mandated reporter. You fucking fucks. Jesus Christ, Alexander, if I'd have known you were going to pull up, I'd have started a fresh video. I do. You going to go use the soda machine over there? What a douchebag. Will you do me a favor? Will you take some of my cans? Alright, here's $1. Well, that was nice of me. I just spat tobacco on it. You know, people keep trying to have the assumption that the issue with Molly was Molly and the issue with Farnsworth was Farnsworth. That wasn't the issue. The issue is the mandated reporters not doing their jobs. That's why I have to be afraid, and that's the whole point in trying to get help. Hold on, though. Could you do me a favor? Okay. Okay, I'll start a new video to talk shit with you. Was ist das? Das ist eine Schweinhunde. Wo ist meine Zigarette? A lot of times I'll say and do things that you don't understand. You don't have to understand them. Just don't be fucking judgmental and punish me for them. My gay friends want to talk about how people don't listen to them and don't try to understand them. And the very same things that I hear my gay friends complaining about, they do those very same things to me. The very things that they complain about, they do to me. Oh, nobody listens to us. Well, you're not listening to me either. Sure, I might not be gay, but I'm not straight either. Yeah, I got a bunch of trash bags, but they're up at camp, and I haven't been to camp in 2 days because there's a guy who's going to help me, and I'm trying to get the help because I do need it. I thought I had one more in here somewhere. Is that 4 of them? Oh, that's only 3. Ah, there it is. It's just the same color as my inverter. You got a phone number yet?
No, I never know a phone.
You still suck then. Alright, that's not true.
I need to get a phone.
You do need to get a phone. Hey, if I can organize to get a ride to the next town over to get a Cricket phone, the free hobo phones they got, you want to go?
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'll try to organize it, and we'll see if there's like 4 or 5 people out here that, well, 2 of them don't like me and they can kiss my ass, but if they want to go, I'll go with them. But yeah, they got those phones, and as long as we're together and we have all the information we need, it ought to be pretty easy. I'll see if I can get a list of what's needed. If you're on food stamps, you're automatically eligible.
Well, I got food stamps.
Alright. Anyway, with my safety issues, because the mandated reporters won't do their jobs, is so prevalent, I was hoping you might be able to, there's a guy that might help me, and if he's able to, I was hoping you might be able to speak with him and explain the situation. Because like I said, with Molly, she did that for over a month and a half with me. She hit my vehicle multiple occasions, put multiple dents in it, smashed things, including glass bottles on it, and the cops didn't do shit. Now I got a $400 ticket. They want me to pay a shit ton of money for, well, I can't afford to do anything because all my money is spent to going to see these mandated reporters who, instead of doing their jobs as mandated reporters and turning it in immediately, they want to send me around in a magic fucking circle. Never getting anything done. What are you missing? Your soda? Oh, your cigarette.
I drank my soda.
I chugged mine pretty quick too. Well, I was hoping if you could, you might be able to write down some of the stuff that you remember about Molly in that situation. And, you know, I got the recordings from that point in time that showed the situation too, where she did a lot of that stuff. I just don't have a place to sit down and organize it because it does take a long time. And I also got to make sure that I record the fact that I'm making an effort, which eats up a lot of memory and eats up a lot of time. Then there's also the fact that with Molly doing that shit so often, and Farnsworth doing that shit so often, and people doing that shit so often at the church, it became mandatory basically anytime I go anywhere to make sure that I'm recording just in case.
Well, Aaron's gonna make $10.
Alright, go make $10.
I don't know how. This is so far away and far. I can't even find any cans anywhere now.
Well, there's a few people who go through and look for them. I noticed that Christian, he won't come down here if he sees Chris's van here. So, Christian, he won't come down here if he sees Chris's van. And Chris's van usually shows up around 8 o'clock, I guess. So, During that period of time, any bottles that are in there you can go through and grab, but after that, he usually comes through real late at night and grabs them.
Alright, thank you.
Yep. He owes me money, so he avoids my car. Although on the bright side, I've expected Christian to not keep his word. Chris and Christian are not the same person. A lot of people keep telling me to do the same things over and over and over and over again, not understanding I'm not able to do those things for myself. I don't have the resources. If I did have the resources that you have, then I'd be able to do some of these things. When you have resources that I don't have, it's not that I'm asking you to do something I'm not willing to do. It's that I'm asking you to do something that you're capable of doing and I am not. I'm not capable of being there to back myself up. I'm already there telling my story. My evidence helps to back it up. But they're not going to look at evidence when they're too busy telling their own narrative and selling their own narrative over the top of what actually happened. It's dehumanizing. I speak out about a lot of the things that these people want to try to confide in me about. A lot of nice people have told me that they would kill people or wanted to kill people. Some of them even told me that they already had.